Hello everyone, this is Steve, and today I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough on how to connect a new Salesforce org to your ForceClaw instance. Connecting Salesforce orgs is how you actually do work with ForceClaw, so this is a step you'll need to do at least once, but you can connect as many orgs as you would like. It only takes a few minutes, and most of that time is over in Salesforce setting up an external client app, which I'll walk you through how to do. So let's get started. As you can see, I'm in the ForceClaw dashboard. This is where admins are going to manage all of the connections. And I'm going to click the Salesforce Orgs tab over here. As you can see, I already have one org connected, but we're going to walk through adding a new one. So I'm going to click the Connect New Org button. This opens a modal where we'll have to enter three things from Salesforce: the domain, a consumer key, and a consumer secret. The key and secret come from the external client app you'll create in Salesforce, and I'll walk through how to do that in a second. One quick note though on how this works under the hood. ForceClaw uses per user OAuth. So once an org is connected, each team member working that org will have to self-authenticate with their own Salesforce login. This way, when the bot does anything in Salesforce, like running a query, building a flow, deploying code, etc., it will run as the user who made the request, and it will respect their permissions exactly. So if the user doesn't have access to a record in Salesforce, the bot won't either. You can see here, if I expand this, we have a short set of instructions right in this modal on how to connect the external client app, but we also can click this link. That's going to open up this other page in ForceClaw, which can also be accessed from the nav bar up here, and this is going to give some more detailed instructions on how to set up the external client app. So let's head over to Salesforce now and walk through the setup. So I have a Salesforce org open here. I'm on the external client app manager. I got there just by being in setup, search external, clicked external client app manager. As you can see, I have nothing set up now, but let's create a new one. Okay, and I'm going to enter the required details. I'm going to call this ForceClaw. I'm going to enter the contact email at info.forceclaw.ai. You can enter whatever you would like here. Now I'm going to head down to the OAuth settings, and I'm going to enable OAuth. Now we need the callback URL, which you can get either from this page in ForceClaw. If I scroll here, we see it, or we see it in the modal. So I'm just going to copy that right here. I'm going to paste that in to my settings, and now we're down to the OAuth scopes. So we need two of them. We need manage user data via API, and we need perform requests at any time, refresh token, offline access. The manage user data via API, that's what's going to grant the connected app access to the Salesforce APIs, the REST API, bulk API, tooling API, metadata API, and all that. And the perform request at any time is going to issue the long-lived refresh token so the users don't have to keep authenticating. Keep scrolling. We're going to leave all of these flow enablements disabled because, again, we're going to use the web server flow, which is what enables the per user authentication that I just mentioned. So I'm going to click create here. Okay, and this is created. Now I'm going to go over to the settings tab, and I'm going to scroll down to the OAuth settings, and you see I can click this button here, consumer key and secret. Okay, so that's going to send me a verification code. I'm going to open my email in a different window and get that. Just an extra security step that Salesforce does there. Got my code. I'm going to paste that in and verify. So that's going to reveal the credentials. I'm going to copy both. Quick note, obviously you don't want to share these. You don't want anyone to see them. I'm going to disable these right after this video, so I'm not concerned with these being displayed on the screen. And also worth noting, ForceClaw encrypts these in transit and at rest in the database, so nobody on our side is going to be able to see these. So I'm going to copy the key and bring this back. Oh, I also need the domain. So first I'm going to paste in the key. I'm going to go back. I'm going to grab the domain up here. I'm going to paste that in as well. I don't need the trailing slash. I'll remove that. I'll go back and I will get the secret. Paste that in. And you see the next button is continue to Salesforce because, again, I need to do my per user authentication. So we need the keys to do the connection to the external client app. But still, as a user, I'm going to need to authenticate myself. So I'm going to click this button. It's going to ask if you want to allow ForceClaw to access Salesforce. We're going to allow, and that's going to bring us back. So now you can see the org is connected. The name will come over from the company information in the org, but I can change that to whatever I want. I'm just going to call it new org because I'm not very creative. Here we can also set the team access. So if you have a team and want to give certain members access to this new org, they'll each need to self-authenticate the same way I just did. As a ForceClaw admin, you can grant them access from this team section here in the org detail page, and then they would go into their dashboard, they would go into the org page, they would click on the org, and they would connect their user the same way I just did. Again, it's the same flow, just done by each person. And then down here, you can manage the agent permissions for this org. So since this is a sandbox, every permission is enabled by default. If this were a production, only the read data and read metadata would be enabled in case you didn't want to do any write actions. Some of these wouldn't even be possible, like they wouldn't even appear for production, like the write Apex code and such, because again, you can't even write Apex in production, so that wouldn't even be an option. But we'll leave these all enabled for now. Just wanted to explain what you're able to do in each org. So if I go back to the main orgs page, you can see I have two orgs enabled now, my new org and my old org. So let's head over to Slack to confirm that everything's working correctly. So just for comparison, you can see before, when I only had one org enabled, I could say, tell me what automations exist on the opportunity. And I mean, there aren't any because this is a brand new development org. But it didn't ask me what org I was referencing because again, I only had one org, where now if I were to say, tell me what automations exist on opportunity. Okay, this is good. So the first message I get back is going to say, you have multiple orgs connected. Which one should I use? And I could click either old org or new org. So I click that, and now it knows, okay, I'm working in the new org, and it's going to answer this question based on that org. It's going to check the opportunity automation in that org specifically and see what's going on. But I don't have to do that every time. So as you can see, this is also a new development org, so I didn't get anything back. But I could also ask it a question, like I could specify what org I want to work in my prompt as well. So I can say in the new org, tell me how many accounts there are. Okay, and you see it didn't ask me what org I was referencing, and just so you know, it's grabbing from the new org. When I asked this question earlier, there were 19 because again, that was checking the old org, whereas the new org has 31. So now we know the new org is working correctly, and that's it. Very simple couple of steps. We had to set up the external client app in Salesforce, just takes a few minutes, and then the ForceClaw side is just pasting in those three values, and then I had to self-authenticate, and then each user, again, each team member that wants to use that org will also have to authenticate, but again, that'll be very quick. They won't have to set up the external client app. Again, only one user has to set that up on the initial connection, and then moving forward, you can have as many team members as you would like use that org. So, yep, hope that was simple, and thank you for watching.